It is I, Leclerc. Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here. Today we're going to talk about Doctor Who missing episodes. And I want to talk about if I could bring back 10 stories, the 10 I would bring back and why. Now, there are 26 classic Doctor Who stories that are currently missing. I'm not counting Shoutout since that's a whole different thing and it was never completed. But talking about 60s Doctor Who. If there was a way of those 26 that I could somehow, maybe I found a magic lamp, I don't know, get 10 stories back of those 26, the 10 I would pick and why I would pick those 10. I am going to mention an honorable mention as well because, well, quite honestly, I had 11 and couldn't decide. So we're going to do 10 and an honorable mention. Hey, it's my channel. I can do what I want. Now, the honorable mention I want to talk about is The Crusade. I love The Crusade. First off, it's David Whittaker. I love me some David Whittaker. 2, The Crusade's just fantastic. It's well cast. I enjoy it. I would really love to see that episode 4 because it is a little more action-oriented. There is some action and fighting going on in there that the recon's a little tricky to follow. You really need to watch the reconstruction on the Season 2 box set with the linking narration turned on, the little subtitles, so you can follow what's happening. That being said, it's not placed any higher because I can still enjoy it with the 2 surviving episodes and the recon. It is intact enough I can still get a very enjoyable watch through of this story. Even though I would prefer having it complete, possibly over some of the ones even higher on the list. The fact that it's half complete and the 2 reconstructed episodes are fine, especially episode 2. I can get through this story enjoying it immensely with the half of the footage that I have, that exists. So it's not quite as much of a priority as some of the others on the list. However, I'd still love to have it, especially episode 4. And number 10 on the list is the Moon Base. Now, some people might have thought I would have had this one higher, but the animation for the 2 missing episodes is one of the best animations. It really is. The Planet 55 animation is arguably the best one. It is so good that I can enjoy this story with only half of it existing. Having episodes 1 and 3 animated and the surviving 2 through 4, I can enjoy this story a lot. It is one of my favorite Cybermen stories. It's really good. And the jump from animation to live action that goes back and forth isn't jarring at all. It's easy to watch this in one sitting, and the animation and live action flow together. Now, of course, I would love to recover more of this and to have the actual surviving episodes 1 and 3, or 1 or 3 even. I do think this is Troughton's best performance in the role. I love him playing the second Doctor here, and I would love to see more of that. But because I do have such a good animation, and the fact the surviving episodes are both very good, and it ends on a surviving episode, which I like, it just has lower priority over some of the stories higher up on the list that I feel like bringing back would give more benefits to. So I would love to see more of the Moon Base. 3 episodes, all 4 episodes, but I am okay with having 2 episodes and a very good animation. That works for me. So it just kind of falls at number 9 because of that. Next on the list is the Space Pirates. This is an interesting one. I do think if the Space Pirates was complete, it would have a better reputation in the fandom, but I can't decide how much better. The reason why this one is so low, and it was originally higher, I might add, was because I can never decide if it was complete, how good it would be. The novelization is a great read, but I'm also using my imagination to do the visual representation there. The surviving episode 2, is okay, but I can't decide if that's the way they were executing the episode or just the fact there's not much going on in episode 2. So I can never decide if this story was complete, if it would have been a great story or if it would have just been a middle-of-the-road story. Either way, its reputation would be better than what it is, but how much better? And because of that, because I can't decide just how much better this story would be complete, would make it, it just kind of falls here. Next on the list is Marco Polo. I would love for Marco Polo to be completed. The behind-the-scenes photographs from Marco Polo just look gorgeous. Like, it really looks like, it was a really good production. Like, a lot of money went into this production for, 60s Doctor Who. The outfits look nice. The sets look nice, what we see. It really looked like they put some effort into it, being 7 parts. And that and the fact we pretty much have Season 1 ready to go at that point, since we have Reign of Terror. It's missing episodes animated. That would almost complete Season 1 to where we could get it ready. And plus, I'd just love to watch Marco Polo. I think a lot of us would love to watch Marco Polo. And if there's any missing story out there that has episodes that should be left, it should be Marco Polo. They made so many copies of Marco Polo that you'd swear at least some of it's got to be out there somewhere. So yeah, Marco Polo definitely makes the list. Next on the list at number 7 is the Daleks Master Plan. And I know some people would probably have it much higher, but I'm going to be honest, it's too long. It's a bit boring. Now, part of that might be because so much of it is reconstruction. I struggled with Master Plan. To be fair, the 3 surviving episodes were all good. So if we had the whole thing complete, it could be really good. I still think it would be too long. Also, episode 7 is terrible. I get it's a Christmas episode. It's supposed to be a break. I don't like it. I find it annoying. I don't care for it. I really think Daleks Master Plan really is 11 episodes with a bonus episode thrown in. I mean, it makes more sense to count Mission to the Unknown as an episode than it does the Feast of Stephen. But I'm just not as eager to see Daleks Master Plan as some people are. I'd love to find more of it. And to be fair, even some of the stories we've already talked about on this list, I'd rather get episodes for. Really, the only episode of Daleks Master Plan I'd really be chomping at the bit for that I can think of off the top of my head is episode 12. I'd like to get the final episode and to actually see what happens to Sarah at the end would be really interesting. See how they achieve that. But, I'd rather recover episodes from Marco Polo or the Moon Base, stories we've already talked about. The only reason it's this high is because I know how important this story is to the fandom. And to be fair, again, if it was complete, it probably would be a pretty good watch for the most part, if not way too long. Next on the list, even higher for me, is The Smugglers. That's right, I'd rather get The Smugglers back than Daleks Master Plan. I love The Smugglers. The novelization is a great read. The Loose Cannon Recon is a good watch. The fact that I can watch a 4-parter that is completely missing, other than a few clips here and there, and watch it completely as a recon, all 4 parts, and still have that much fun with it, and get that much enjoyment out of it, oh yeah, that's going above Daleks Master Plan, which I struggled to get through. It was such a chore. To be fair, if The Smugglers, which was 12 parts, I'd still struggle to get through that. But I love The Smugglers. It's great. I like I like the writing. I like the story. I love the cast. And even just from the audio and the pictures, the cast are putting in a good performance. Love the guy playing Pike. Love the guy playing Cherub. Like the guy kind of playing the Squire. And how his character really gets a nice arc at the end. He's also the guy who plays the Marshal in the Mutants, I found out. And I love him in the Mutants. The guy playing Longfoot, even though he's only in episode 1, he's good in it. And then I feel like our main cast get a lot of good stuff to do in there too. I love The Smugglers. I would love to be able to see a complete version of The Smugglers. I'd love just to have 1 episode of The Smugglers. To get the complete Smugglers, yes please. I really would love for an episode or 2 of The Smugglers to turn up. That would make my day. Next on the list, I'm going to have to flip something here. I'm looking at my list and I'm going to have to flip. I'm going to flip 4 and 5. Number 5 on the list is The Highlanders. It's pretty much the exact same thing as The Smugglers. I love this 4-parter. I've read the novelization. It's fantastic and hilarious. I've watched the recon. It's fantastic and hilarious. Again, a 4-parter that's completely missing, and I still love it. I have so much fun with that story. Great introduction for Jamie, one of my favorite companions. Love the 2nd Doctor, one of my favorite Doctors. Ben and Polly are good in it. I like how Polly has the one Scottish girl with her that kind of develops a bit of a backbone hanging out with Polly. And we also find out Ben's a really good swimmer. The guest cast is nice. You have the one guy who's kind of sweet on Polly who does right at the end. The one guy, he kind of makes me think of a lawyer who's not a very good guy, and his little assistant with him. The scene between that guy and the doctor. Your eyes, man! I love that scene. I enjoy that story. So again, this is one where if I just had one episode, I would be so happy just to be able to see it. But if I could have the Highlanders complete, that would make my day. Which is frustrating, because I do think it was the very first story to actually have its masters wiped, which is a shame, because I love the Highlanders. It's so much fun. So, moving into what I now have at number 4, Fury from the Deep. Fury from the Deep is such a good story. It's got atmosphere, it's creepy, it's scary, it's got claustrophobia, it's got the sense of claustrophobia to it. It is downright terrifying if done right. Unfortunately, the animation for it is the worst animation we've gotten so far. I even put it below the Web Fear episode 3. The animation just isn't good. I don't necessarily blame the animators. As you can tell, it was on a budget and a time constraint. I feel like if they'd had more time, if you'd given them 6 more months, you could have done more with it. There were some creative choices I didn't like. Making the areas wider really takes away from the sense of claustrophobic to it. Also, the comic book style I'm not as keen on, though it works for Abominable Snowman and Galaxy 4, to be honest. It's more just here it's problematic. The too long arms, the South Park running at times, the soldiers wearing the mask so they don't have to animate the faces. Yeah, the animation is a hard watch. Honestly, I'd rather just watch the recon. The fact that if I'm watching the recon, I can still have... The fact it's a 6-parter that I have to watch completely as a recon, and I can still enjoy it. I don't think I've ever read the novelization for it. Maybe I need to do that at some point. I don't know if I have the novelization for it. I don't know if the Flyattractor's ever sent me the novelization for Fury. It's probably a really good novelization. Have I read that? I'm trying to remember if I've read the novelization or not. I don't remember. But it's a really good, creepy story. And just from the surviving footage we have, it looks so good. Especially that one scene, the one. I really feel like even if part of this story just turned up, it would be such a fun. Give me 2 episodes of this story, and I would be such a happy camper. And then I could point out just how the animation fails it. Number 3 on the list is Evil of the Daleks. David Whitaker, yes. David Whitaker writes the Daleks so well. And I think that quite possibly no one gets the Daleks as good as David Whitaker. And this is such a good story. The surviving episode 2 is amazing. I love that. One of the single best classic episodes, honestly, especially of the 60s. Very good stuff. Troughton is on fire in it. And I like Jamie and the guest cast as well. I would love to get more of this story, because the story is good. I like how it takes place in 3 different places, with being in 1966, like 1865, and then the last couple episodes being on Skaro. It's a nice change up of pace. I love the Daleks in this. I love the guest cast. Such a good story. I would love to see a completed version of Evil of the Daleks. And number 2 on the list is the 10th Planet. Yes, probably the missing episode that we need back the most, if you could only get one back. The 10th Planet is so iconic for so many reasons. The first story for the Cybermen, and of course the final story for the first Doctor, the first regeneration, the first appearance of the second Doctor. And it's just a really good story on its own right. I actually enjoyed the actual story, especially parts 1 and 2. Parts 1 and 2 are really good. Part 3 suffers a little bit because of Hartnell being not there because of his health. Although I do like the fact that some of his dialogue got passed to other people. We get to see Ben shine a little bit. And then one of the guest characters, I forget his name, the one with the glasses, the kind of sciencey guy. I like him too, because I think he probably got some of the Doctor's dialogue. He's really good in it. It's just always frustrating watching it, knowing that after I finish part 3, I have to make do with an animation for the last part, with the last part being such an important part of Doctor Who history. Not having it to see is so frustrating. That's nothing against Planet 55. The animation is good. The animation is good. Planet 55 did a really good job, but it's still to be such an iconic story, such an iconic and important episode to Doctor Who, to not be able to watch it. I do love the fact we have clips of it. And judging from the surviving clips from episode 4, it looks really good. It looks really good, those surviving clips. And, of course, it's a miracle, and a wonderful miracle, that we actually do have the regeneration. And that we can watch the regeneration and see that actual existing footage is fantastic. But that's something, I think, for historical sake, for posterity, that is definitely one you need back. But two, for my own personal enjoyment, I would love to be able to just enjoy all of the 10th planet all the way through. So that's a situation where, you know, I'd pick it because everyone needs it, not just myself, but for the good of everyone, and because it's one I want a lot. That actually works out for both. So that would definitely be my number 2. But my number 1's got to be Power of the Daleks. To see Patrick Troughton's first story, to see his post-regeneration, to see his first few moments in episode 1 when he's reconciling himself and adjusting to his new body. And it's just such a good story. Again, David Whittaker writes the Daleks so well. I love Power of the Daleks. Paced well at 6 parts. It's not just the Daleks you have to worry about. It's the infighting from the humans in the station and their plot to overthrow the government there and take over. And the Daleks, of course, using that to their own advantages, because that's what the Daleks do. The surviving clips from the story look good. I wish more of it survived. This is the story that if I could recover, I would recover. I would absolutely love to see all of Power of the Daleks. It just looks so good, and it's written so well, and the audio is so well done. I would love to see the second Doctor's first story. So those are the 10 I would pick, and why I would pick them. I want to know what you think of my choices and which 10 you would pick. Comment down below, and let's talk about it. Don't forget all the other fun stuff. Click the like button and the subscribe button. Links to the Patreon, of course, down in the description below. I want to give a shout out to some of my top tier patrons: Colin Coney, Sam Venning, Unknown289, Finn Perkins, and Paul Gibbons. I appreciate their support, as I do the support of all of my patrons. It's very much appreciated, and my YouTube members as well. I also have the P.O. box down in the description if there's anything you want to send me to look at and review. Links to the Amazon wish list are down there. Links to the Amazon UK wish list are also down there. Check those out. Most importantly, thank you for watching.